Ladies and gentlemen, today we explore a truth that shapes destinies, affects nations, and defines the lives of people everywhere. It is titled, The Psalm the Rich Know, the Poor Ignore. Life is not simply shaped by resources. It is shaped by beliefs, habits, and principles. The difference between wealth and poverty is more than money. It is mindset and discipline. True wealth does not start with the wallet. It begins in the mind. The greatest difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not income, inheritance, or opportunity. It is how they think, believe, and respond to life. A rich person may lose everything and rebuild again because they have cultivated a mindset of possibility, growth, and resilience. But someone with a poor mindset can receive money and still end up broke because their habits, beliefs, and attitudes sabotage progress. Mindset determines whether you see problems as barriers or as pathways. Those with a wealth mindset ask, how can I grow from this? While others say, this is too hard. A wealthy thinker believes they can learn, improve, adapt, and create value, while a limiting mindset believes that life is controlled by fate, luck, or someone else. Wealth thinkers seek knowledge constantly, books, mentors, skills, because they understand that ideas can open doors money cannot. Money without the right mindset is temporary. That is why lottery winners go broke, but builders rise again. Wealth thinkers do not wait for success, they design it. They do not fear failure, they study it. They understand that riches are born first in discipline, vision, and knowledge before they ever appear in material form. This is why the greatest investment anyone can make is in their beliefs, perspectives, and personal growth. Because mindset silently shapes choices, and choices silently shape destiny. Wealth is rarely accidental. It is rooted in patterns, principles, and philosophies that govern how successful people think and act. The rich often operate by quiet rules, principles learned from observation, mentorship, experience, and disciplined habits. These principles may not be written in textbooks, but they guide daily choices and long-term direction. Many people see the results of wealth, the comfort, the opportunities, the freedom, but they overlook the invisible principles that created them. The wealthy understand concepts such as delayed gratification, strategic planning, value creation, money multiplication, and continuous learning. They know that every financial breakthrough has a foundation: studying markets, building networks, cultivating habits, controlling emotions, and applying knowledge. Meanwhile, many people ignore these principles and focus only on desires, wanting the lifestyle without the discipline, the income without the skill, the results without the process. While some complain about unfairness, the wealthy quietly apply principles such as consistency, self-investment, and long-term thinking. They make sacrifices today to reap benefits tomorrow. They treat time as an asset, information as currency, and failure as education. The tragedy is not that these principles are hidden. They are accessible, but that many people overlook them, dismiss them, or never learn to apply them. Every visible outcome in life first existed invisibly in thought. The mind is a silent architect shaping actions, habits, decisions, and ultimately destiny. What people continually think about becomes what they expect, what they pursue, and what they attract. A person who constantly believes, "I cannot," stops trying before effort even begins, while someone who thinks, "I can find a way," continues searching until solutions appear. Thoughts act like scripts that the body performs and the future follows. The rich often understand that thinking is not passive. It is powerful. They guard their minds against defeat, scarcity, and hopelessness because they know such ideas eventually sabotage productivity. Instead, they cultivate thoughts of growth, possibility, and responsibility. They visualize goals, imagine progress, and focus on solutions. These thought patterns influence how they speak, how they act, and how they respond to pressure. On the other hand, when people constantly dwell on fear, limitation, envy, or excuses, they weaken themselves mentally and emotionally. They may unknowingly train themselves to accept less, settle early, and avoid challenges, all because their thoughts become barriers instead of bridges. Thoughts shape confidence, courage, discipline, and persistence. And these qualities determine who succeeds and who stops trying. Wealthy minds believe they can improve, and that belief becomes fuel for action that gradually shapes reality. So successful people understand that the mind is the primary battlefield of life, and whatever dominates the mind eventually dominates choices, habits, and outcomes. That is why the rich make a conscious effort to protect their mental environment. They are selective about what they listen to, who they associate with, and what influences they allow into their thoughts. They avoid people who constantly complain, discourage ambition, or spread fear because they know negativity is contagious and can poison motivation. Instead, they surround themselves with conversations that build, ideas that stretch their thinking, and people who inspire growth. They choose learning over gossip, purpose over distraction, and clarity over chaos. The rich understand that negative thinking drains energy, paralyzes action, and sabotages opportunity long before it ever shows in results. A person who absorbs negativity begins to doubt themselves, fear risk, and shrink from possibility. All unseen effects that eventually damage their future. Successful individuals train their minds like a gardener tending soil, uprooting toxic beliefs, planting empowering thoughts, and watering them daily through reading, reflection, and positive environments. They know that anger, envy, self-pity, and pessimism cloud judgment and weaken productivity. So they guard their focus, discipline their mindset, and protect their inner world because they understand that a wealthy life cannot grow from an unhealthy mind. One of the greatest distinctions between wealthy thinkers and struggling thinkers lies in how they interpret challenges. Where others see dead ends, the rich often see openings. When many people encounter problems, they become discouraged or retreat. But those with wealth Result-oriented minds view the same situations as invitations to innovate, adapt, or create value. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can this teach me? How can I use this?" This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Entrepreneurs often begin by seeing a problem that others complain about: traffic congestion, slow services, lack of access, and they turn it into a business solution. While others get frustrated, they get curious. While others avoid the uncomfortable work of solving issues, they embrace it as their pathway to progress. Their ability to see opportunity in adversity becomes one of their greatest advantages. This perspective also fuels resilience. When plans fail, they don't conclude that success is impossible. They adjust their approach, refine their strategies, or explore new angles. They understand that opportunity is often wrapped inside inconvenience, uncertainty, or hard work, so they persist rather than surrender. The difference is not circumstances, but interpretation. The rich have trained themselves to respond with creativity, problem solving, and hope, while many abandon possibilities because they only focus on what is difficult rather than what is possible. A striking difference between wealthy thinkers and struggling thinkers lies in how they use time, money, and energy. While many people focus on consuming, buying the newest gadgets, watching endless entertainment, or chasing comfort, the rich prioritize growth. They invest in books, courses, mentors, relationships, tools, and experiences that expand their abilities. They understand that consumption spends resources, but investment multiplies them. Instead of using their free hours to escape reality, they use them to design their future. They read, observe, experiment, and build skills when others rest in distraction. They treat learning as a lifelong duty, not a school phase. Every day becomes an opportunity to sharpen their thinking, improve their competence, and upgrade their value. The wealthy also build not just businesses, but systems, habits, and networks. While many people wait for opportunities, they create their own. They start projects, take risks, and grow assets that produce future rewards. Their focus is long-term. They are willing to sacrifice comfort today for capability tomorrow. Meanwhile, those stuck in consumption patterns often chase pleasure, avoid discomfort, and spend time on activities that entertain but do not elevate. They spend money to feel good, but rarely to grow better. They desire results without investing in preparation and envy success without studying its ingredients. The wealthy do the opposite. They plant seeds before expecting harvest. They build capacity before demanding reward, and they learn continuously because they know ignorance is expensive. Wealth does not appear simply because someone wants it. It flows toward those who create value. The rich understand that money is not just currency, it is a reward for solving problems, meeting needs, and improving lives. They focus on offering something useful, a product, service, idea, or skill that others are willing to exchange money for. Instead of asking, "How can I get more?" they ask, How can I give more? How can I help more? How can I add value? This mindset shifts them from dependency to productivity. They study markets, observe needs, identify gaps, and then position themselves as the solution. Value creation is the engine behind business growth, career advancement, influence, and opportunity. When someone becomes skilled, knowledgeable, helpful, or innovative, their worth increases, not because of luck, but because people need what they offer. Unfortunately, many people overlook this principle. They desire wealth without adding usefulness, expect income without improvement, or wait for miracles instead of mastering skills. They focus on what they lack rather on what they can contribute. Meanwhile, the wealthy are busy building solutions, improving customer experiences, simplifying processes, empowering others, and creating systems that serve. They know that the world rewards value, not wishes, excuses, or expectations. Whoever contributes more tends to earn more. This is why the rich prioritize excellence, skill development, creativity, service, and problem solving, because they understand that value attracts wealth the way a magnet attracts metal. One of the defining habits of the wealthy is their orientation towards solving problems rather than avoiding them. While many people run from challenges, complain about difficulties, or wait for others to fix things, the rich lean into problems with a curious and constructive mindset. They understand that every major business, invention, or breakthrough was born from someone deciding to solve a need others ignored. Instead of reacting emotionally to challenges, they examine them objectively. What is the root cause? Who is affected? What solution could exist? How can this be done better? This approach leads them to discover opportunities where others only see frustration. They train their minds to look for patterns, inefficiencies, unmet needs, and dissatisfaction, because they know that solving these opens doors to wealth and influence. The rich also cultivate skills that help them solve problems efficiently. Critical thinking, patience, innovation, networking, and decision-making. They read widely, seek mentorship, and expose themselves to different viewpoints so they can approach challenges with fresh angles. They learn to break big issues into smaller parts, test solutions, adjust when things don't work, and persist until they find what does. Meanwhile, many people spend their energy escaping problems, blaming circumstances, resenting others, or waiting for rescue. They fail to realize that the world pays those who fix difficulty, not those who avoid it. Wealthy individuals embrace this truth early. Whether in business, relationships, or personal development, they stand out because they step forward when others step back. They grow stronger, wiser, and more capable every time they solve something. And this growth compounds over time, opening greater pathways for success. Wealthy individuals understand that talent alone is not enough. Continuous learning and skill development are what separate those who succeed from those who remain stagnant. They approach life with a mindset of growth, always seeking to improve, adapt, and refine their abilities. They recognize that the world is constantly changing. Technology evolves, markets shift, and opportunities emerge in unexpected ways. And only those who keep learning can stay ahead. Skill sharpening is not just about acquiring knowledge. It is about mastering the practical application of that knowledge. The rich invest time, money, and effort in developing expertise that sets them apart. They attend seminars, read extensively, study successful individuals, experiment with new strategies, and constantly seek feedback to improve performance. Every skill they acquire becomes a tool that increases their capacity to solve problems, create value, and generate wealth. Meanwhile, many people stop learning after formal education, assuming that they know enough to survive. They fail to recognize that skills depreciate over time if they are not updated, just like technology or machinery. The wealthy, however, treat learning as an ongoing process, a lifelong commitment. They understand that the more skills they master, the more opportunities they can create, and the less dependent they become on luck, inheritance, or chance. In addition, learning for the wealthy is strategic. They focus on skills that amplify income, influence, and impact: leadership, negotiation, investing, communication, and innovation. They also understand the multiplier effect. When one skill complements another, it can create exponential growth in their personal and professional life. This constant pursuit of knowledge and self-improvement ensures they remain adaptable, resilient, and prepared to seize opportunities that others may overlook. A major reason some people remain in poverty is their mindset of dependency and passivity. Instead of taking responsibility for their circumstances, they often blame external factors: the economy, the government, their family background, or bad luck. While external conditions do influence life to some extent, continually blaming others keeps a person trapped in inaction and reinforces a sense of powerlessness. The poor often wait for opportunities to come to them, instead of creating their own pathways to success. Relying solely on luck is another reason people struggle. They may hope for windfalls, lottery wins, promotions, or inheritance, believing that wealth is something that happens to them rather than something they actively pursue. While chance can play a small role in life, it is never a dependable strategy for building lasting wealth. The rich understand that waiting passively for opportunity is risky and inefficient. They know that consistent action, learning, and problem-solving produce far greater results than hoping for miracles. Blaming, waiting, or depending on luck also affects motivation and resilience. When failure occurs, people with this mindset see it as proof of injustice or misfortune, rather than as feedback or a lesson. They become discouraged, stagnant, and risk-averse, repeating cycles of inaction and disappointment. Wealthy individuals, in contrast, take ownership of their outcomes. They see setbacks as temporary, controllable, and solvable, which allows them to respond proactively rather than reactively. Moreover, depending on luck often blinds people to opportunities that require effort and initiative. Wealth is rarely about shortcuts. It is about consistent, disciplined action, creative thinking, and value creation. Those who ignore this principle may spend decades waiting for an unlikely stroke of fortune, while those who act decisively and strategically build progress steadily. Day by day, the psalm the rich know is not a secret formula, nor is it a matter of mere luck. It is a way of thinking, a way of acting, and a way of seeing the world. One rooted in discipline, learning, resilience, and value creation. The poor may ignore it, not because it is hidden, but because it requires effort, courage, and a willingness to change. But here is the truth: this psalm is available to anyone who is willing to learn, practice, and persevere. Your thoughts, habits, and choices today are the seeds of your future wealth and success. Guard your mind. See opportunity in obstacles, invest in yourself, and focus on creating value. Remember, wealth begins in the mind, grows through action, and shows in your life long before it appears in your bank account. Do not ignore the wisdom that the rich quietly follow. Let it guide you, transform you, and open doors you never thought possible.